What's up, everybody? Well, I got another video for you guys on the Asus G15 Advantage today, but today it's not your regular gameplay video or nothing. No, I think it's finally time to open this thing up and try to get it to get a little bit better cooling. I've been putting it off mainly because I didn't want to lose the warranty, but my warranty is long past gone. Well, not long past, but I think I'm like 3 months out of warranty now. So I figure, why not open it up and try to make it cool a little better, if possible. I might break it, might make things worse, who knows? But let's have a look at some of the stuff I bought for it. Well, all right. First thing I bought here was some of these. Some nylon washers. Now, all I really wanted was the M2, but I couldn't find just M2 by itself. At least not in nylon form. I could find a metal, but I sure as fuck didn't want to put a bunch of metal washers in my computer. You know, you touch that on two little solder joints and psst, that shit's fried. It might not kill your computer, but you do that to enough things and it's definitely going to die. Almost everything on that motherboard is useful for something. And then we got ourselves some more liquid metal here. Seeing as though that is probably, I can't really think of anything better than that. Except for this thing I saw in Linus, but I'd already bought this thing. I saw this cool little thermal pad. It was like a little pad, and then it would like turn to liquid when it got to a certain temp. And then it was only a couple degrees below Thermal Grizzly's liquid metal, and then you never have to worry about opening up your thing ever again. So if this thing survives another year or two, and this stuff starts drying up or not doing as good again, I'll probably just get me one of those. But honestly speaking, in another year, this thing will probably start showing its age a little and I'll probably want to upgrade. But I have already told myself I am not upgrading this thing until 7000 series come out. Or unless the 4080 laptops seem pretty awesome too. Might grab one of those as well. Because it'd be kind of fun to compare all of them together. Have like a little laptop benchmarking channel going on here. Once I get into the new house and whatnot. But anyway, moving on. I also got some new thermal pads for the thing. We got ourselves some 1mm and some 0.5 millimeters. Because after looking and doing a bunch of research, it seems that those are the two pads that you need, because apparently this thing doesn't use thermal pads at all. I guess they used little goop on all of that stuff. Probably because it was cheaper than getting these kind of pads, like super high performance thermal pads, but at the same time it was better than just using like the cheapest thermal pads possible. They would have probably gotten into the same situation as the RTX 3090 did with its overheating memory on the back, where they're like, hey, you know what? We're gonna make this like super high powered GDDR6, and then you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna cool it with a $1 thermal pad. Fuck yeah! Anyway, luckily they didn't do that with the newer cards. They learned their lesson, but that was still a big kick in the ass. $1,500 card, and they're like, we're gonna cheap out on some shit. Hell yeah. Nothing should be cheap about a $1,500 card. That shit should be flawless. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So, basically, we just got to open this guy up again, which we've done multiple times for the Wi-Fi card, the SSD, and cleaning it out. So, why don't we get this thing shut down, turned upside down, and let's start taking this motherfucker apart so we can hopefully upgrade. All right, we got everything unplugged. We have our laptop turned over. So, just a few prerequisites. Obviously, you're going to need a screwdriver. It's just a Phillips head for this guy. You don't need any special Torx or anything for this laptop. And then I would recommend getting yourselves a little bowl or something to put all the screws in. This one's magnetic, so that way, even if I accidentally go up and knock it over, they'll all still stay in. And it can stick to stuff too, so if I had something magnetic, I could just like attach it to that and start tossing the screws into it. And then you're gonna need yourself something like this, or one of those guitar pick looking things, to actually break the seal once we get all the screws out. So, now that we've gone through that, we've already looked at all of our new stuff, let's get to taking this bad motherfucker apart. So, let's just start. All right, let's bring this guy over here so we can actually use him. Here we go. Now remember, these guys, the screws in the front are a little smaller than the ones in the back. So obviously, do not mess them up. Here are the little guys. And then we're going to do the last screw over there last, and I'll show you why at the end. But just keep on taking them apart. A lot of people think I shouldn't even be showing this part, but I kind of like just chatting with you guys while I undo the screws and whatnot. And mainly I do this just because of one comment I got like probably 10 years ago when I first just made a YouTube channel just for like fun. I remember I was doing a video on how to install a Arctic Accelerator 5 or something GPU cooling fan thing on a GTX 480, right? I pretty much did the whole thing, but I was like, all right, well, I'm pretty sure anybody who can get to this point can operate a screwdriver. So I'm just going to skip that part. And then some smart aleck came in and was like, oh, you didn't show the installation process. You didn't, because you didn't show screwing the screws in. So I guess I'm just going to set the thing on my card and expect it to just stay there. And it's like, okay, dude, I get what you're saying, but you're just kind of being a dick. So now it's like, all right, well, people that don't care about this and obviously know how to unscrew screws and shit can just skip this part. That's why I do the chapters. And then the people that enjoy, you know, watching and just listening to me chatter along as I do this can do that. Now, we're going to get to this last screw, and I'm going to put the microphone down so you can hear it, because it makes a certain noise and it doesn't actually come out. So if you try to unscrew it, it's never going to come out. Now, did you hear that small little click that it made at the end? That's the little click it means to, or shows that it's out. So, there we go. All of our screws are out. We got all of our screws in our little cup. So now we can move the cup so we don't knock it off of the table or some shit. And now we can move on to breaking the seal. Well, all right. Now we're going to break the seal. So what you're going to want to do is just find a spot to grab, put this under. Doesn't really matter where. I find over here by the USB ports, like right about here or over here is a good spot to get started. Or you can also, another good spot is right here on the lip. And then you can just lift up and move around and it'll eventually let loose. I'm going to do that part off of camera just because obviously, as you can tell, I don't have my camera far up enough to get a good grip on it. And I kind of need it to be on the table. So instead of doing it off camera, let's just put it on the table, slide it up like that, because I almost always do this part off camera. It would be nice to at least show you guys how this works. Hopefully I won't make myself look like an idiot like with the Steam Deck. Well, I'm not off to a good start, but this part's a little tricky for me because I don't want to use too much power. But at the same time, you don't want to break your laptop. There we go. We got it. See, like I said, these two areas are a little easier. So, let me show you. See, now it just popped up a little bit right there. So just do that around the whole circumference of the laptop. And then when we get to the part where we peel it off, I'll turn the camera back on. All right, we've gone around the whole thing and pretty much gotten it started. So now let's try to turn it back this way. And there you go. It kind of sounds a little scary. But you also have to be careful because there's two little, it's easier to go that way and set it down. There's two little guys right here that you don't want to fuck with and break. So far I've been good about not breaking them, but I want you guys to just lift up and just rip those guys off. So be very careful of the two ribbon cables right here. So now I have to figure out how to get those out for the first time because I definitely want to, or at least figure out what I can do with this thing to get it out of the way. Damn it all, knocked into my camera. It's got this really big, yeah, there really doesn't seem to be a lot you can do with it this time around. Because I need to get into this and they're going to get in my way. So we're going to have to disable these. So I'm going to real quickly go figure out how to do that, and then I'll show you guys how. All right, we're going free-handed just for a second here, because I couldn't really get a close-up of this. But do you see this little thing? There's a little tiny little tab right here. It's a little black thing. All you have to do is lift it up, grab that, and it'll come right out. And then come over here, same thing, there's a little black tab, pull it up gently, and then they come right the fuck out effortlessly. No huss, no fuss. Now we can get this big old thing out of the way, and we're not going to damage nothing this time. So, pretty awesome. Now let's get you guys back on the tripod. Well, alright. So, now we're pretty much already to another point here where we can start taking these guys out. There's 8 screws total. You've got 4 around your 6800M right there, and over here you've got your processor, and this will void your warranty. There's a little sticker right there with a little warning label. So once I do that, warranty gone, but guess what? My warranty was already gone. This thing's a year and 3 or 4 months old already, so no more warranty for me anyway. Also, as some people have pointed out before, if you want to be super frickin', safe, it's recommended that you disconnect the battery too, but I already risked taking the stupid RGB cables out. I ain't risking breaking my battery. I can live without RGB. I can't live without my battery. So, if you're wondering why I left that on, that is why. Back in the past, I had a couple instances where I broke battery leads. So, don't want to have to happen again, not on this badass thing. So, now, I don't know if you actually have to take the fans out as well to take this out. We're going to try taking it out without. But if you do have to take the fans out, this would be a great time to clean them out. Like, take them completely out, clean these little vents out right here. Because if those things get clogged, or if the bottom of these fans look just as clogged as the tops did in that one video I did, where I showed you guys how to clean out dust. So, and then these vents were basically like clogged from like here to here on each side. So there's literally just probably about that much air flow. So, not enough airflow. So it definitely stopped being quite as loud after I fixed that, but still gets up to like 96 and whatnot, and I'm tired of it. So, well, let's dive on in. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video real quick just in case I mess up with something I say. That way I don't have to redo the whole video. It's not like I can redo anything that easily anyway. It's already apart, so I don't really want to screw up. Well, alright guys, let's start. We're going to start with the warning label screw. Now, all of these have things where it won't let them come out past a certain point. And hence, that's part of the problem. I don't think it's making good contact. It's either not making good contact with the liquid metal, or I don't have enough liquid metal. Because this is put on with a fucking machine. So machines are good at a lot of stuff, but liquid metal is a very technical thing. You've got to put that shit on just fucking right, or it doesn't work good. And hopefully I don't break this thing, but I'm tired of these crazy temps. Alright, I think they're all out. None of them really want to come out anymore. They kind of have that same clip as that one screw did over here on this. They just click and then they don't come out anymore. So now, do I actually have to take out any more screws, or will this thing just lift up? No, it looks like more stuff has to come out. So maybe you have to actually take out all the fans and whatnot too, because so far it doesn't seem like it wants to come up. And number one rule with computers is don't force things. If you force things, you will break them. So now I'm going to just real quick go take the fans out and whatnot, because for all we know, maybe there's hidden screws underneath the fans or whatnot. So let's take those out real quick, shall we? And I just figured I'd show you guys how to do that real quick. It's really easy. They're only held in by 3 screws. Now, I don't want to mix those up in my, whatchamacallit, screw holder over there, so we're just gonna set them all right over there. They're all the same size, so you don't have to worry about screwing it up. And then, come on, you little bastard. Alright. This is where it's nice to have there we go. And then it'll kind of slide out. See, I still missed some smuts. Look at that. Gross. Absolutely gross. So now you can either take it out, you can completely disconnect it right there. I'm not going to mess with it. I just wanted to get it out of the way to make sure there's no hidden screws holding this thing in, and it really doesn't appear like there is. So why it's not coming off, I don't really know. Is it that? No, that looks like a screw that's holding something else in. But maybe. All right, time to go research real quick, because I don't want to give you guys wrong information. So let me go figure out how that bastard comes off. Well, all right, guys. There's no one on the entire fucking internet, as far as I can tell, that tells you how to take this off. There's a guy that shows you how to, or tells you about putting the M2 washers on those, but so far nobody actually shows you how to take that off. So not only do you have to take these 8 screws and loosen them, but so I don't lose them, then there's 3 more little screws like right here. Now, there's one right up here, one up here, and then there's one last one right here by these 2 big blocky things. You got to take those 3 screws out too, or it's not going to come off. So now that that is done, we can carefully lift up on all of this. And be careful, there's another wire right here that I should have taken off first, because you don't want to. There we go. There we go. And now we can see what they have done. So they seem to use goop for the memory and for the MOSFETs and whatnot. So that's cool. So now we can get into the cleaning up process, because we have to clean all that up. And then, like I thought, look at that. There's giant frickin' air holes where it wasn't making good contact. And that is why we were getting such shitty performance. So, now before I get started with cleaning all the goop off of all of this shit, I do want to say, be very fucking careful with this liquid metal when you're cleaning it up. It's got this little foam to protect it. Well, it's in the actual laptop, but now we took that foam away. So if I took my finger and just went like that, and I wasn't paying attention, I was like, oh, what's that over here? And I took my pinky and moved some of that down into some of these RAMs. It would touch these little tracers, and boom, now your GPU memory is all fucked up, and now your GPU is destroyed. So I probably sound like a nagging parent, but be very, very careful with liquid metal. So now, off camera, I'm not going to make you watch me clean all this goop off, but let's get all this cleaned, and then we'll work on getting the new stuff put on. Well, all right. We got most of the liquid metal off, at least off the parts that count. Getting that goop off was the hardest. I still got a little to clean up here and there before I put it back on. But besides that, we're pretty much good, so now it's about time for us to start putting our thermal pads down. And again, for that, we've got critical thermal pads. Everybody told me these were pretty damn good, if not the best. So we've got the 1mm for stuff like these chokes and whatnot, and the RAM, and then you've got the 0.5mm for all of these guys. And then there's a couple other little things right here. Don't forget about these guys. You got to put the little 1.0 on all of these, so they'll at least make contact with all of that. Because if they don't make contact, I'm sure shit's going to overheat, and then I'm going to be even worse off than I was before. So, now, why don't we go ahead and get all those on there. Well, alright guys, we have got all of our thermal pads on, at least now. This was a very, very strenuous process. It's not hard, it's just really annoying. You have to sit there and cut them perfectly. Well, I didn't do perfectly, but you have to sit there and at least get them close enough. And then make sure, I just want to leave this on, make sure you take that off. If you don't take that part off, you're going to have a bad time and you're going to have to open everything up all over again. So I just wanted to leave that on there to show you guys to make sure to remove it. So now we can start on the liquid metal part. So we're gonna have to get this guy out, and then we're gonna have to put it down and get it going good. So let's open up this liquid metal and get to applying. Well, all right, now for the really scary part, applying the liquid metal, or reapplying the liquid metal. So you don't want to press this hard at all, or it will shoot out all over the place. I'm not very good at this, so it's still probably going to spray out all over the place. Okay. We got 2 little drops there. That second one I wasn't expecting to come out. See how dangerous that shit is? So now put the liquid metal far away from you and any other electronics. And then what you're going to want to do is just take the little applicator they give you. Now I honestly might have put a little too much on here, but that's okay. We can always fix it later. And then just wipe it around. The goal of this is by the time you're done filling this up, the whole thing should just look kind of like a mirror. So just carefully kind of make the pool move around. Try not to go off the edges, but at least this thing has shit to protect everything if you do happen to go off the edge just a little bit. So yep, just keep taking it and moving it around. We want to turn the whole GPU into basically a mirror when all is said and done. Sorry, I'm not talking much, but this is a very delicate process. And all right. And there we go. Now we've pretty much gotten the GPU done, so now if you got any left like I do, you can just come right over here to the CPU and start doing the same thing you were doing over there. Just to try to make it into a perfect mirror. And remember, a little liquid metal goes a long way. I'm using some over here because I sprayed way too much on the GPU at first. And there we go. Now, what you're going to want to do is also make sure you do it on these things as well. Because if you don't put it on there as well, you're not going to make good contact, and then you've basically done all of this again for no reason. Because basically what they did is, since it doesn't have good mounting pressure, they decided it was a great idea to just goop on a shit ton of extra liquid metal just to complete the contact, which is why we get up to 97 degrees, I'm assuming. Because the other guy was getting up to like 85, 86 tops with the same settings I use. So obviously there's something going on. So now what I'm going to do is just shut the camera off, and I'm going to get liquid metal over on, well actually first, before I put liquid metal on these guys, we have to put the little washers in. Otherwise this whole ordeal is for naught. So let's go do that, actually. Well, all right, guys. We also put the, whatchamacallits in there, the little washers. So now all these little screws now have washers in them. So now we can put the liquid metal on these two things real quick off camera, since I was using my finger to press on those areas to get those stupid clips back in. I think it's probably a good idea to use a little alcohol and a paper towel just to wipe that shit off real quick, and then we'll put liquid metal on it and get putting this bad motherfucker back together. So let's go do that. Well, all right, guys. As you can see, we now have our liquid metal back on here as well. We got our liquid metal on there. So now it's time to get this thing to go back where it belongs. So we've got to flip it the right way without accidentally touching any of the liquid metal. And then very carefully, I want to carefully put that back under like it was. I'll take the fans back out. And all right, we've pretty much set it back where we need to set it. So now we've got to go and tighten our screws down. So let's go do that. All right now, guys, it's time for us to tighten this bad motherfucker back down. So what I would recommend doing is just starting in a crisscross pattern. All right. Hey, where did one of our screws go? It's gone. Uh-oh. It was in when we put it in. Did it fly out while I was putting things back in and just shoot out on me or something? Well, shit. Let's go find that. We can't put it back together without that guy. Well, all right, guys. We found the screw. Somehow the clip broke and just shot off. The clip is right here. Somehow that shot out from underneath. And I found the whole assembly underneath my desk, so it's in the way it should be, other than being locked in with a, whatever the fuck you call that, C-clamp, I think? Or no? I don't know. It's just some kind of clamp. But anyway, I figured real quick I would show you guys, since I didn't take the fans out like an idiot. Now I have to take them out real quick. That way we can get them back up. That way we can get this little piece right here down. Otherwise, it's literally blocking all your air, and then you're going to be getting even worse airflow than you were getting before. So just make sure you take your fans out when you do this. I was trying to do it the lazy way as usual, and it didn't pay off because I had to do more work at the end to take the fans out anyway, when I could have just taken them out the first time and everything would have been fine. So all right, we're gonna take the other fan out and do the exact same thing here, because if we leave it the way it is, we're in for a fucking bad time, because it won't be able to breathe, because this plastic shit is just all bunched up right above it. It'll only be able to breathe a little bit out the side, and maybe not even then. So we'll just real quickly, there we go. We'll put all that fluff back down for it. Here we go. Get that back where it belongs, and now we can put our fans back in. Well, we already got the one back in, but now we can put this fan back in. Love magnetic screwdrivers. They make my life so much easier. Well, it's not easy to get those clamps back on either. I knew I was going to fail on one of them. They just did not want to stay. They just act like they're fine. And one of them shot off after, 5 minutes after I did it, it just shot off. I was like, oh, okay. Well, luckily I found all the parts. And I don't even think it was that one. But anyway, now we got everything screwed back down. We've got everything torqued down. We went in a freaking off camera. I did do this in a cross pattern. You want to do that, just make sure you go from this one to that one and that one to that one. Otherwise, you'll get uneven mounting pressures. And then we've done all of this for no fucking reason. Which I already might have. Maybe I screwed everything up. But I hope not. I'm trying to stay positive, but you never really know until you get it back together. So let's just do a quick look over here. Make sure, nope, that fan's not hitting no wires. That fan's freely not hitting any wires. So I think we can put the casing back on. Everything looks good. I didn't disconnect my battery, but if you guys did, make sure you reconnect it now or you're gonna be in a world of trouble later. Let's get that back in there. I guess it doesn't have enough sticky. Oh well. If I wanted to, I could get a new electrical tape and tape that wire back down, but I just kind of routed it back where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to just be, it's supposed to just be like that. And then it looks like it goes down there. There we go. If we don't get that in the right spot, our casing won't go back on in that spot. So now, I think we're good to go. So let's go put our casing, let's go hook our RGB cables back up. And then let's put our casing back on. Don't want to forget to do that. Well, all right, we got one of these back on, but I figured I'd show you guys. I didn't show you guys how to take them out, but I figured I'd show you how to put them back in. It's ever so easy. Just grab hold of the little blue tape and shove it back in its hole. And then plop that thing back down like that. There we go. And now it's in there. Both of them are in there. You can give them just a very ever so nice small little tank or tug just to make sure they work. And then I would make sure that they're not going to go into the fans, and they're not. All right. And there we go. So now we're ready to just go around and get this casing back on. So let's just go do that. It seems a little scary, but it's really not. It just sounds scary. Oh, I forgot. That part comes out. That scared the living shit out of me. I thought I broke it. All right. Looks like we're back together. And now it's the fun part. Now we have to go and put all the screws back in. So why don't we go do just that? Now we can put our screws back in. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll just grab our little screw thing here and you can just get these guys started. Honestly, I found out just like with the Steam Deck, it's much easier, at least for me, to put these back in, at least like that first, because if I don't and try to just use magnetism, it just kind of keeps trying to come back out of the fucking hole. So, here we go. Here we are. I know we're not doing a cross pattern, but yep, I'm excited to see if this thing still turns on or if I broke it taking it apart, you know? I'm always interested. But you know what? Even if I broke it up, at least it's a learning experience for you guys as to what not to do. I'm still going to put the video up and people can make all the fun they want of me messing up if I fried this thing, you know? But at least I tried to fix it myself and didn't just go, oh, well, we'll just let it fry itself. I did that for a whole year. Basically wanted to see if it was going to do that itself, because if it was going to do it by itself, I would have just claimed a warranty. I'm like, hey, Zeus, your laptop burnt itself up on me. What can we do about that, champ? All right, now the smaller screws. It's a little easier to do it this way. All right, nope, the magnetism of the thing is too much. I was trying to be lazy and just grab it with the little magnetic screwdriver, but oh, fuck. I fucked that one up. All right. And now we got to put our last two screws in. And last but not least, our screw that doesn't actually ever come out. And wouldn't you know it, look at that. All of our screws are back in. The laptop is back in business. Not scratched in any way. We got a little bit of some thermal compound on it right there. I'll just have to wipe that off real quick. But now, why don't we hook it back up and plug it back in and see if I fried the son of a bitch or if it turns back on and everything's all good. Well, all right, guys. Let's get some more light on the situation here. There we go. And now, let's just take ourselves a little hit, whether it's a victory hit or a hit of disappointment. But we'll take our quick hit here, hit power, and see if the thing still turns on or if I fucked the whole thing up. All right, let's try it. Well, I at least hooked the RGB back up. Hey, look at that. I didn't fry it. Well, at least it turns on. Let's not toot our horns yet. All right. Okay. Well, we're in Windows anyway. So, now let's go run a quick Cinebench and whatnot and see how the temps do. All right, well, since I didn't drill out my bottom of my casing like the guy did, I didn't get quite as good performance or temps as he did. In fact, nothing really seemed to change whatsoever for anything that I've done. So, let's see if just having the, cooling pad I normally use, let's see if having that on helps at all. Which it should, but will it be any different than it was just when I'm using it bone stock, or will we be able to get better temps now? It's looking like, judging by just what we were getting temps before, I don't think we're going to get any better temps with this than we were getting before either, but I just wanted to try it out. So let's go run the same benchmarks we ran, not only now with the cooling pad. All right. Here's our initial benchmark here for our single-core, multi-core score on Cinebench. So now let's go check out the temps. Now we're still hitting the same 95, but that could just be because I didn't drill holes in the bottom like the one guy did. That could be one of the biggest differentiating factors of the whole ordeal. So later on in the video, I'm going to try taking that shit off. Just take the bottom of my laptop off completely and see if that helps temps at all. But all right, none of the rest of this really matters, so let's close that because we're going to need to open it up for the next test anyway. Well, here is our 3D Mark Firestrike score now. We got 28,122, which is still better than average, but not quite up to best level yet. Maybe we can get there by opening up the bottom. But anyway, on to the next test. Here's our Time Spy score. And I couldn't quite beat average, but at least I did better than last time. So let's go check out what we got this time around. Again, we still hit 96, just like we usually do, so no difference there, unfortunately. I was kind of hoping that just redoing the liquid metal would help a bunch and putting thermal pads on everything, but doesn't look like it's going to be that easy. And then that's our Vega. That thing doesn't really matter much. It gets all the way up to 90 or whatever, but after that one, we don't care about that one. So here's what our other thing did, still up to 86, the same 101 on the hotspot, so nothing really changed with the GPU either, unfortunately. But alright, now I'm going to go and I think we're going to open up the bottom and see if that helps at all. Well, now here's with the bottom removed. I think we definitely improved a little bit here. At least in the scores, but how about temps? Nope, same 95.4. So apparently it's not the casing's fault. There's no casing at the bottom at all right now. It's just open and has a cooling pad blowing a bunch of hot air in it. So
that's kind of a shame. Anyway, let's move on. So I kind of accidentally messed up and did Time Spy first, but here's our Time Spy score now with no bottom on. Definitely seemed to improve the CPU score and everything a tiny bit. I think we only got like 11,101 or something before. So definitely an improvement. So now let's go to the next test. Now here's our Firestrike score. Definitely went up a tiny bit. We still aren't hitting no 30,000 or anything. So there must be more to it than that. But anyway, now why don't we go have a look at some temperatures. All right, now let's look at the temps real quick. Almost forgot to do that. So that's why here we know we still got up to the same 95. And this is with it just sitting there. I might have said it had a cooling pad on it earlier, but this is just it sitting there on the desktop without any fans or nothing. This is just me redoing everything and plopping it back on the table, basically. So doesn't seem to have really made a difference. But now let's go grab the cooling pad and see how it does with that. So here's with the cooling pad now. I think we did actually go up a little. I didn't bother doing the single core. I didn't want to waste time. I don't feel like that's going to matter too much. It's not going to change much. It might go up 20, 30 points, but it's not like it's going to go all the way up to like 1,500 or something like that and start competing with the Intel chip. So anyway, now let's go run the rest of it. Here's Firestrike with the bottom remove, or with not bottom remove, but this with the cooling fan. So definitely not bad. So now let's move on. Now here we got our Time Spy score here with the cooling pad. It definitely improved our score a little bit here, which is interesting considering temps stayed the same. Speaking of that, let's go look at those. Well, now we're going to check out the temps here. We still hit 96.5. So doesn't look like even having the cooling pad helps with that. But we still didn't get any thermal throttling at least, so at least I didn't make it so bad at thermal throttles. Although, I shouldn't say that yet. We haven't gotten to the game portion yet. Now, it is throttling because of power, but not because of thermal. So, that's good. At least on the top one. How about this one? Does this one tell us that stuff? We're a little lower on the maximum by just a tad, but everything else is about the same. Now, just for fun, I decided to take off the cooling pad and also take the bottom case off, just to see if that really was restricting everything. Like, the one guy drilled holes in his. I didn't want to do that, and then it turns out, oh, it didn't help at all. Now you've got a bunch of holes in the bottom of your laptop, you know? So I figured let's just take the whole fucking bottom of the case off. That way it's completely unrestricted airflow, you know? So let's see if we still get, like, whatchamacallit, throttling or anything like that. We're definitely getting higher temps on our GPU now. That shit's getting up to like 88, 87 now. Hotspot still seems to be about the same at about 100. Oh, hit a tree. Paying too much attention to temps again, damn it. Well, this is a bummer. I was really hoping that this was gonna, like, I was gonna do what that guy on Reddit did, and I was gonna have like top temp of like 88 or something with all the sliders maxed, and everything was gonna be awesome, but guess that just wasn't meant to be this time around. But like I told you guys, I show you when I succeed and I show you when I fail, and unfortunately this is a failure, it's looking like. I'm gonna have to probably take the thing apart again and see if I can't get better contact or something. I didn't have a timer or anything going this time around. I was just trying to check shit out, so I have no idea like how long I've been going when I was making this, so I don't think I made it quite as long as the other one. But I still kept playing after I stopped the recording, and it never did any of that weird stutter again, so just turns out I can't use my cooling pad anymore. That's a big bummer. So not only did I fuck myself over by like not getting good temps, now it seems like I can't even use my cooling pad to get like decent-ish temps, because that really helped before. Oh well. Let's go wrap this bombshell up, shall we?
Well, alright guys, it's time to end this video, and unfortunately on kind of a disappointing note. Like, no matter what I try, I cannot have no 88 or 86 or whatever that other guy on Reddit got. The only thing I can think of is Maybe his CPU just pumps less volts or something than mine does. That's about all I can think of, because no matter what, it just doesn't seem to work. In fact, I think I made it worse because it was doing that weird throttling shit where it like drops the FPS down like 25 for a second right at the end of that video, and then I decided, all right, well now I'll try to just take the bottom off and shit and see if that helps. But that made the throttling stop, but still didn't improve temps. So why would I leave the bottom off if it isn't actually doing anything, right? Exactly. So I'm not drilling no holes in the bottom of mine, and unfortunately, I'm just gonna say I wouldn't recommend doing this, especially if your laptop is still under warranty. Definitely not worth voiding your warranty to try this, because maybe I just messed up really bad somewhere along the way, but besides that screw popping out on me towards the end, which I just put the little retention spring back on and started screwing in, none of the other ones were super tight yet. It just popped off randomly. Don't know how it happened, but that was the only thing that was slightly bad. But since I didn't have every screw but that one torqued down, that shouldn't have made a difference. I just went, found the screw, and then tightened them all up the way you're supposed to in a cross pattern and whatnot. So it's either I didn't do the liquid metal right, which I don't think that's the case. It looked like I did an excellent job on that. Or maybe, like I was saying, maybe mine just puts more volts in than this other guy's. I even tried turning overclocking off because I noticed he doesn't have overclocking on his, so I even tried that, and now I get even lower scores than I was getting before. I was getting like 13,000 something. Now I only get like 12,800. So that's kind of annoying. I think it's just because I have to hit the overclock button again and turn that back on. I think it just fucked up the last time I tried to turn it on. It doesn't really seem to have made any difference. But I'll get my original stuff back to the way it was, hopefully. If not, I'll just have to stop making videos on this laptop, which I definitely don't want to do because people like it. So the only thing that sucks about this whole deal is now I can't use my damn cooling pad anymore. So it's like a big $70 paperweight because I just had to open it up and try to make it get better cooling. I should have just left it alone, to be perfectly honest. That's pretty much the moral of this story. So pretty much I am very, very disappointed, like extremely disappointed, and my day is definitely ruined. So, and I have a headache now from doing all this, so probably because I haven't eaten all day. So I'm gonna go get some food in me, take some aspirin, and just relax for the rest of the night. And again, I definitely would not recommend doing this. It doesn't seem to be worth the trouble. But anyway, I hope you guys still enjoyed the wild roller coaster of a ride this was anyway, even though it didn't end up helping us out. Hope you enjoyed the video, and until the next one, peace out, guys.